Hey there guys, I'm the Royal Gorilla and welcome to my rundown of all the Easter eggs in Doom. So in this video I've tried my very best to gather together all of the biggest and best Easter eggs from the new Doom game at the time of this video's release. If any new Easter eggs are found post-release, then be sure to leave them in the comments section below and let everyone know. I've also tried my best to avoid any and all spoilers in this video, but I will be showing late game locations and weapons, so just keep that in mind. So without further ado, let's get started. Now this Easter egg can be found on the Kadingir Sanctum level. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. So this is quite a big level, so this can be pretty tricky to find, but once you get your hands on the Super Shotty, the area following that will be where you will find the Easter egg. So in this area, once you've dealt with all the enemies, you're not going to want to do this until you have. If you go in the cave, you will be able to find right at the back, leaning against a pillar, will be a skeleton wearing the signature Dragonborn helmet with an arrow in their knee. This is a clear reference to the arrow in the knee meme, which originated in Skyrim. And one of the things that really surprised me is just how accurate the helmet is. A lot of the times when these Easter eggs are in games, they tend to kind of make it look a little bit different to kind of give it that bit of distance from it, but this looks dead on. So if it's any help at all, I'll also show you the map here. So this is the kind of general area you'll be able to find this Easter egg. This next Easter egg seems to crop up quite a lot in games that feature a lava-based level. It's a reference to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and in the case of Doom, it can be found on the Foundry level. If you want to see this Easter egg for yourself, it's really quite simple. Just jump into the molten metal in the main facility and watch as you die. As you sink into the liquid metal, the Doom guy will make one final thumbs up in reference to the final scenes from Terminator 2. If you want to see the scene from the movie yourself, I'll put a link in the description below. This may sound strange, but have you ever noticed how impressive the doors in Doom are? It actually reminds me of another Bethesda title, Fallout. Well, with this next Easter egg, that may be more than just a coincidence. Right in the opening of the game, you will be able to find this door, and it doesn't really look any different to any other door in the game, really, does it? But on closer inspection, you will see that the Mixum logo has fallen off, revealing who was really behind the construction of Doom's doors. None other than Fallout's Vault-Tec. You know, come to think of it, the entire Doom facility is kind of reminiscent of some of Fallout's vaults. Another reference to the Fallout series can be found on one of the collectible figures. The Possessed Engineer figure, found on the Foundry level, will be called Vault Guy and is painted in the classic Vault Suit colour scheme. Doom was developed by ID Software. They're the guys behind games such as Rage, Wolfenstein, Quake, and most importantly for this next Easter egg, Commander Keen. On the Kadingir Sanctum level in Doom, just after you open the first Blue Skull door, you'll have access to the location where this Easter egg can be found. If you make your way down into this cave, you'll be able to find a skull wearing a very interesting helmet. Aside from the Doom logos on the side, this helmet belongs to Commander Keen's hero, Billy Blaze. The yellow, green and white pattern on the helmet is identical to Billy's helmet, so that makes this a pretty clear reference to the game Commander Keen. One more Commander Keen Easter egg that we can't forget is a reference to the classic villain, Dopefish. A reference to Dopefish can be found throughout the game in various locations on Chinese food boxes. So this means that either Dopefish is now being served as a number 19, or he's opened up a line of Chinese food restaurants. Either way, he seems to be doing better off than Billy Blaze. If there's one thing that Sean Bean is good at, it's dying. Now, we've all heard hundreds of jokes about Sean Bean's fragile mortality before, so I won't bother. Instead, I'll just show you that even in Doom, a game in which Sean Bean doesn't even feature, he can still end up dead. So this is on the Resource Operations level, and can be found once you make your way to the main Vega terminal, which can be found at roughly this location on the map. If you pay attention on the left hand screen, you'll be able to see that amongst a list of fatalities, Sean Bean's name will appear. Now, generally speaking, Easter eggs are normally hidden in a game. More often than not, they'll be tucked away in some corner or back alley where you'll never really need to go. However, this Easter egg in Doom takes the biscuit when it comes to hiding Easter eggs. So, the birthday Easter egg can be found on the Titan's Realm level. If you want to come here for yourself, you'll be able to find it at this location on the map. But what you're looking for here will be some blood dripping out of a small hole in the wall. Now, you might not have realised this, but you can actually jump up and grab onto that small, tiny little hole in the wall and walk straight through it. What you'll find in the secret room behind this fake wall is a skeleton chained to the wall with a birthday cake and a balloon. So this could potentially be a reference to maybe one of the developers' birthdays, someone they know, or maybe it's just a general birthday Easter egg. I, for one, have no idea, but it's something that I really didn't expect to find in the game. Wolfenstein: The New Order is perhaps one of my favourite games of all time. It also has one of my favourite Easter eggs ever, in the form of retro Wolfenstein levels hidden within the game itself. Well, not to be outdone, Doom has only gone and included classic maps from both Doom and Doom 2. These maps can be found on every level of the main game. The one I'm showing you now can be found in the very first mission and is activated by pulling a secret lever. One of these levers can be found on each level, totaling to 13 classic maps in total. As you've probably already noticed, aesthetically these maps are identical to the classics. They've just got a lot higher resolution, but all the enemies within the levels will consist of the new Doom models. There's quite a diverse range of these levels, some of which will have you simply fighting standard enemies, and other ones you'll even get to fight massive bosses. Now, I've decided not to do a complete guide to every lever location because, quite frankly, that video would have been really boring, really repetitive, and probably about half an hour long. So instead, I'll just put a link in the description below to a full text guide if you want to find them for yourself. And one last thing that I thought was worth mentioning is that during one of the death animations, you'll be able to watch as your own head rolls in front of the camera. Inside, you'll see that under the modern armour is the classic Doom guy staring back at you. Now, I was unable to replicate this for myself, so full credit goes to Vensti, I think that's how you say that, for the footage you're watching now. There's also a link to that video in the description. For many fans of the classic Doom games, this next Easter egg may bring up some unpleasant memories. For this Easter egg, you'll need to reach the Necropolis level. As you fight your way through the Necropolis, this Easter egg will be pretty much unmissable, as once you climb a broken staircase into one of the main combat arenas, the Icon of Sin will be staring down at you from across the chasm. To those of you unfamiliar with Doom 2, the Icon of Sin was the final boss of the game. In the new Doom, he is purely cosmetic, although if you shoot his exposed brain with a rocket, it will release a cube. Once you fight your way through this area, you'll get to pick up what was inside the cube, which happens to be a Doom guy figure. Something that I also found interesting was a quote from one of the artists behind the Icon of Sin. In an interview, they said, "Here he lies dormant in the heart of the necropolis, waiting for the opportunity to rise again." So, perhaps, in a future Doom game, we may be up against him once again. Despite simply being called Doom, the latest Doom title hasn't tried to completely write off its ties to previous games. We've already taken a look at an Easter egg and references to previous games, such as Doom 2's Icon of Sin, but next up we're going to be taking a look at another Easter egg, this time referencing the more recent Doom 3. In order to find this Easter egg, you'll need to reach the Lazarus Labs. So, around the halfway point in this level, you'll enter an elevator, which is also a loading screen, that will take you down to a chamber where the is held. From this point, all you'll need to do is follow the route I'm taking, which is pretty much just following the objective, and once you have access to this lab, if you take a look on this desk, you'll see a very familiar looking object from Doom 3. This is the Soul Cube, an ancient Martian artifact that just so happens to be the most powerful weapon in Doom 3, which unfortunately you can't use in the new game. ID Software, you are such teasers. Doom wasn't the only massively popular first-person shooter in the 90s. An Easter egg referencing Doom's main rival, Quake, can be found on the Advanced Research Complex level. At the very start of this level, if you head inside the women's bathroom and climb through a vent in the ceiling, you'll drop down into a secret room. It's roughly around this area on the map. Now in this location, you'll be able to find a Quake poster on the wall, covered in blood, so it's a bit hard to make out. Also, directly next to this will be a poster featuring the classic box art for the original Doom. Oh, and there's also a clean version of the Quake poster on the lockers behind you, if you're struggling to make that out on the wall. Maybe I should have shown that one first. Quite often, games feature hidden mini-games within them that act as Easter eggs or help to flesh out the game world and make it more believable. Well, the latest Doom game actually has two such games that we will be taking a look at today. The first game that you can find in Doom can be found on the Advanced Research Labs level. You'll be able to find this as you exit the facility and journey onto the Martian surface for the first time early in the mission. Once you kill all the demons and activate the terminal, head in through this airlock. Once you get inside this room, which can be found at this location on the map, along with a runestone, you'll be able to find an arcade cabinet tucked away in the corner behind some crates. This arcade cabinet will allow you to play Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3, a game where you punch turkeys over and over. This is actually a recurring Easter egg that first appeared in the early stages of Doom 3. For the second in-game mini-game thing, you'll want to make your way to the Lazarus Labs level. Once you reach the elevator midway through this level, you'll have a loading screen and then you'll be brought into the main chamber holding the So if you just ignore that and follow the route I'm taking, activate the terminal and enter the lab at the back of this area, on the left-hand side in this room, you'll be able to play Demon Destruction, a match-free game which uses the original assets from the classic Doom games. I've seen a lot of people referring to this as a Candy Crush Easter egg, but quite frankly, match-free games are so generic at this point that labelling it as a specific title would just be pointless and dumb. So the last Easter egg for this video can be once again found within the Advanced Research Complex. Near the start of this level, you'll come to this area, found here on the map. There are a couple of notable things here, one of which is an image of Samuel Hayden on the wall. If you don't know who that is, he's the big robot guy, and this is what he looked like before he transferred his consciousness into the robot suit. Now the actual Easter egg we're here to take a look at is just to the left of Samuel. The man on the end, by the name of Steven Serafin, is actually an ex-ID Software employee who worked at the company for quite some time. Sadly, Steven unfortunately passed away just prior to the game's release. He was one of the guys behind demonstrating Doom at QuakeCon in 2014, so this Easter egg serves as a touching tribute to a fallen colleague on behalf of id Software. And there we have it, guys. That was my look at all the Easter eggs in Doom. If I missed any, or perhaps new ones are found in the meantime, then be sure to leave a comment below. And apart from that, it's time to wrap up. So I hope you enjoyed that video, guys, and if you did, please be sure to leave me a comment, a like, and of course subscribe. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at The Royal Gorilla, and if you're feeling extra super sexy, or something like that, back me on Patreon. All the links are in the description below. I've been The Royal Gorilla, over and out.
His name is Luke and he's more than your average gamer. No ordinary let's player. Know about Easter eggs much better. Da 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 da. His name is Luke, aka the Royal Gorilla. Even bigger than the giant Godzilla. Follow him in every game he goes. Da 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 da. He's almost got everything you need, from GTA 5